What's up, guys? I'm going to go over mentality today. I'm going to go over it in the context of fitness, but this has applications for everything. Specifically, I'm going to cover how your mentality, otherwise known as your mindset, how it can make or break you. It makes or breaks you based on the kind of limiting beliefs you impose. And the limiting beliefs are limits, okay? Because everything we have to do, it's got to start in the mind that we got to believe we can do it. Let's get right in. So, guys, listen, in short, your mentality is just your general um, propensity, how you do things, how you operate. Okay, mentality, mindset. Mindset's kind of the word now. I like to use mentality for some reason, but either. In short, it can make or break you, and it has to do with limiting beliefs that you have about basically the feasibility of something, whether something can be done or not. All right. And limiting beliefs are limits because we have to believe things in order for them to be done. Okay. This is not, I'm not a proponent of manifestation type thing where all you have to do is believe things. I'm not a proponent of that, but the horse has to precede the carriage. And in terms of when getting something done with achieving a goal, you do have to believe you can do it to a level. Obviously, there's levels that we sometimes doubt ourselves or have uncertainties, but this isn't manifestation stuff again, okay? This is just you have to believe things to best get things done and to achieve them. Guys, I'm going to show I've talked about this before. I don't remember if it was YouTube or an Instagram piece. I think I've covered it both, but I've covered mindset stuff with just kind of two opposing kind of mindsets or mentalities to have. And one obviously is better than the other. Both have problems, but obviously I'm going to break these two down with loser mindset versus the woo-woo motivational mindset. I guess woo-woo motivational mindset is closer to manifestation type of mindset. But one inherent advantage it has is you have the tendency not to limit yourself as much. Okay, so let's go right over it. And guys, you see this here. I'm showing basically two different little figures here. These are supposed to be people. I'm not a great artist, but I'm showing how each of these people, their eyesight's going to a certain ceiling. And in one case, someone set a ceiling that's so low that, okay, and then another thing I should have told you too, this red star is, let's say that there was some kind of a limit that we actually truly, not a limit that we impose on ourselves. Let's say there was some kind of limit that we can get to. That's the red star. Here's the deal. You see, one person, their eyesight is just getting limited. They go to the ceiling, and that's as far as they go up. The other has a ceiling that's just way up there. Let's pretend it's not even a ceiling. There's just a ceiling just really, really high up. It's just infinite, let's say, okay? The person that can get farther is clearly this individual. And I've broken down with woo motivational mindset has its qualms too. A lot of times it's just very lacking in substance with things because again, it's not just a matter of only believing something. You have to obviously put in work. But just for the purposes with this, that what I want you to get out of is having the mindset that's got a predilection on things that can't be achieved, that has a predilection on imposing ceilings and limits on things that really you don't really always know what your limits are. You got to do things sequentially. Don't go from 0 to 60, but you get to a point where you won't reach your full potential if you behave that way. That is really the whole spiel with these two little pictures here, which I'm not a very good artist, so we'll see how many more of these pictures I do for you. And I'm going to go over one more thing now. This is going to be a quick one. It's how we impose, and then again, I have these arrows here, really limits or limiting beliefs. It's like a ceiling. Okay, you impose like, I can only get so high because if I jump, my head's going to hit the roof. It's like a ceiling. It's stopping. It's actually preventing you from getting above it. Okay, that's the best kind of picture analogy I can give. So I want to go over now is how we impose these limits or limiting beliefs in the context of fitness, because this obviously has applications for all we're doing, but I'm going to go over it in fitness, some of the things that I see personally. And there probably are real limits, by the way, but you have to take the mentality that you don't either one, you don't really know where they are, so you have to kind of just operate safely, but don't just impose them to limit yourself. Okay, or you have to take the attitude that, yeah, I kind of know there are limits, but there aren't any. This is the kind of mentality that's going to get you further versus this is about as far as I can get it. Guys, that's the whole spiel with this as well. Let's talk about with how people impose limits though. Okay, the biggest one I see with fitness, I got 5 here we're going to go over. Biggest one I see with fitness is genetics. And it's not to say there's no validity to say, okay, well, my genetics are a certain way. It can make it more difficult for me than others to gain muscle or stay leaner. But some people go so far, they impose limits where we don't have any special devices that can look at what our genetics are and figure what your physique can end up looking like if you put in all the work. That it doesn't, it's not, they're looking at it way too simplistically. And again, you're getting into this loser mindset if you impose that genetics are the reason you don't have a good physique, or whatever the case is. Okay, it's just you're going to limit yourself to where you can really be. You're going to limit yourself to here versus here. That's what's going to happen. So again, genetics. With it's not to say that there isn't any validity that our genetics have a level that it determines how quickly we can get somewhere. I mean, obviously we have different structures with how our muscles are shaped, where the muscle insertions are, and the muscle insertions relative to how long our limbs are, how long our torsos are. Everyone has a different physique when they fully develop it, but you can't have this attitude. The reason I don't like the way I look, or I don't look the way I think I should, or I don't look what I think looks good, is because of my genetic. This is just a horrible mindset. You gotta be realistic with things to a level, but you cannot. But you gotta err a little bit more on this side than definitely not this side. Okay, so first thing is genetics. Okay, next thing is this stuff with natural versus enhanced. With people have this predilection right now, trying to figure who's natural, who's not, and you really don't know because there's more and more stuff coming out. You truly don't know. There's people that I'll live with you. I haven't met these kinds of people, but from people that I trust have told me about these people they've come across in gyms. You can pull people off, and these are very low portions of the population, probably maybe less than 1%. You have people you can pull off the streets that can just lift more than a good number of seasoned lifters with no training experience. Okay? Guys, there are people that have higher starting points. There are people that just, again, with just that, everyone's got a little bit of a different potential, probably. Okay, you can't take that mentality, but perhaps there is. And so you don't know, you really just don't know what can be achieved naturally versus enhanced, whether you take a natural or enhanced route. And everyone's different. And you don't know when people started, what they've been doing, how hard they worked, what kind of access to knowledge they had growing up. Maybe their parents were bodybuilders or power athletes, strength athletes. To try to, in general, sometimes you could see certain things. If someone changes their body in a certain way, and let's say 3 months, there's certain things we know, or maybe even a year, even a longer time frame. When you see certain things, you just know, okay, that this we know this couldn't have happened naturally, or we can know at 99.9% certainty it couldn't have happened naturally. But there's way too much predilection with this because again, you're imposing a limit. You think, yeah, he looks like that or she looks like that because of the gear. First of all, isn't that alone? Even when they take gear, they have to put in a ton of work and have a certain level of knowledge typically, unless they just are really, really have a crazy aptitude to make gains. But that's still, there's always a level that go into it. You cannot take this mentality. You really do not know you really cannot know with most people what their true status is to a very good degree. There's some people that have a better sense than others, like Coach Greg and other high level athletes that have just been around it so long. But even them, they know that they can't know with perfect certainty either. And if you get into this mentality of having such a predilection with what you can do naturally versus enhanced, and you just, what's happening right now I'm seeing is people are imposing limits on themselves, and they're getting too occupied as well with what others are doing versus them. Because I'm not here just to sell you totally with just everyone can look like Mr. Olympia. It just defies physics and biology because your muscle insertions are different, and how much you're gonna value getting that physique is gonna differ from other people, and your circumstances, what you got to do with work, your family, all else, everything is different. You all have different priority levels and things that you got to do. I'm not here to sell you on that, but I'm here to sell you on if you're into this camp that you're constantly watching these natty or not videos, and this is like a bigger thing that you'd spend more time on than just learning how to train and eat properly. You're in loser mindset is where you are. You're in loser mindset, Bill. All right, guys, next one. Aptitude and learning ability. So listen, there's a reason they do like aptitude tests for the military, sometimes in high school. There's a level to it that you do have better aptitudes to be learning things than others. And aptitude is your learning ability. If I have a good, so if you don't know what this is, if I say this individual has a high aptitude to be able to gain muscle, they have a better propensity and ability to gain muscle than someone else. Okay, but where this comes in, again, we don't have little devices, little Star Trek devices where, like in Star Trek, where they have these little devices where they scan over people and we just get these readings like, he has an excellent capability to gain muscle, Commander. We need to put him in the, whatever. Guys, we don't have any of that. So we don't know truly what your true aptitude is. And some of this is probably dictated by, again, like what was your upbringing with your what kind of things did you get exposed to when you were growing up? Were you doing physical kind of things from an early age? It's way too nuanced. So again, if you have this attitude, yeah, I didn't get off on a good foot with fitness, and I just have my aptitude. Just I don't really learn this stuff at a good level. I don't gain muscle at a very good level. It could be very well true, but again, you're falling into this camp. You're just imposing too many limits from the start. Got to get closer to this where, well, I didn't learn that much, but there's always a chance to be learning something new. And maybe I have some experiences other people didn't have that's going to help me somewhere with my fitness journey, with gaining muscle, if you want to lose fat. With like this is the mentality you have to take, and you just got then and you got to just be happy with the results you get if you do your best, guys. That's all. This is the one. That's a winning mindset. Okay, if you get too predilected with what you maybe can't do because of your whatever these things are aptitude, you'll limit yourself almost assuredly. Okay, next thing we have here, how we impose limiting beliefs from friends and family. I'll keep this one short. You're just going to have people, usually people that you trust and love and that love you or perceivedly love you. They probably do, but sometimes you'd be surprised. They will impose limiting beliefs on you, them telling you what can be achieved. Sometimes it's more in a way of also like what's should be worth it to you for what you achieve, because we do just have to set priorities. And some of this stuff with where you get to, if anything, be it in fitness, business, anything, it's a level of what priorities we set. Okay, you will have, I've had this not so much with fitness. I'll give a shout out to my friends growing up in high school. They were telling me, oh man, you're looking jacked, your chest is looking barreled. When I was in high school and I made some gains, and I didn't have a barrel chest, guys. I wasn't that jacked. I had very supportive friends with my fitness and journey. So I'm very appreciative of them. I'm very grateful. And they weren't fitness type people. So I was fortunate that way. But other things, namely with business, I have not been as fortunate with. So guys, these people, they sometimes they don't even mean harm. Other times they just have miserable kind of belief systems and they just don't achieve the kind of things that they want to achieve. And then they just impose their limiting beliefs on other people. But sometimes it's just genuinely just they're just decent people that just they just make mistakes, and they will impose limiting beliefs on you from them telling you what kind of things are worth it for you to try to do, or what kind of things you can or can't do. Okay, and the reason it's friends and family, like who are you going to listen to? Someone that you love and trust, and that you have a relationship with, or someone just sitting on the side of the road, telling you the world's going to end tomorrow and whatever, and asking for money. Guys, it's friends and family are the ones you got to look out for more, or that, or someone of authority as well, potentially. Okay, guys, and then it comes down with imposing limiting beliefs. This one maybe I shouldn't have included, but I say what we value. Sometimes when we say certain things we don't think can be achieved, really what's happening is we don't think that they can be achieved with the level of discipline and the level of effort we're willing to put to achieve them. And that actually, I would say, unless you're just saying things like that and you really want the result, maybe you just don't know how to get it the best way, this can be a possible decent way to limit yourself. Like guys, like if you don't want, if you would love to just be like shredded and in photo shoot or bodybuilding contest shape, but you value like spending time with your family, not eating like a slob, but eating the reasonable kind of foods that they eat, maybe enjoying a little bit of dessert on the weekends, and not just being glued to having to eat every 3 hours, versus you'd rather spend time with your family, go for a hike in a nature park, or go to the beach with them, go to your kids' ball games, and you're just not willing to make the time and structure your time to diet down to a crazy level. That's like a perfectly good reason to limit yourself. Okay, so this one actually, there's some legitimate reasons we can limit ourselves, and really, it's not like the same way as a limit. It is the way of we are just saying, I don't value to get this as much to do all the little steps to get there. That's a legitimate thing. That's something I determined myself with bodybuilding, competing. It's not healthy for one. I'm going to level with that. If anyone's watching this, that I know I have people that are coaches and stuff. It's not to put anyone down. It's just it's not worth it for me to obtain those kinds of results. I don't want to go up there scantily clad trying to impress people in a purely subjective sport. I'm very past that stage in my life. And I don't wish to make money that way either. But for some, they enjoy the sport, they enjoy the competitive side. I totally get it. I respect what those people do, but So that's something I've imposed a limit where I don't tell people like, yeah, I can't do it. It's just I don't wish to do it. I don't wish to do the steps, and I've just kind of come like very like it's almost like I'm in the book 1984 for fitness, where it's like a lot of the things you learn about with the fitness industry, you learn certain things that are being promoted aren't really very healthy, and it's kind of like in 1984 they had certain, maybe it was Fahrenheit 451, one of those books. They had certain things where they would tell people words that they would use and it meant like the opposite of what it said, and that's kind of like how I feel with some of this fitness stuff we're doing with photo shoot looks and bodybuilding contest looks. So anyways, so that is an example, guys. Sometimes with what we value and our priority levels can set limiting beliefs or limits because we just choose, okay, I don't want to do this because it's not worth it to me. But okay, guys, what you don't do is if you don't know how to quite get to something and you think you have to do so much to get to it, that's where what you value can end up being a limiting belief. Sometimes you can make a lot of results above what you would expect, and you just don't know how to get there in a way that you find and expect to be reasonable. That's going to be worth it for you. And then that could, again, I don't want to call it a full-on loser mindset because you have kind of a limit of knowledge in terms of what you can do to get to where you want to be. That's going to be reasonable for you. And that's why we tell you guys all the time, not just me, other fitness coaches, you can reach your results in just a few workouts a week. You can enjoy the foods you're eating, and even some people with bodybuilding contest shape. There's levels to it. Who's able to achieve what? Who knows? Maybe I have limiting beliefs. Maybe there's ways I could get into closer to bodybuilding shape, a little bit, not quite as crazy. I'm now, based on my knowledge, I don't expect that. But, right, guys, you'd be surprised the kind of limits you can put on yourself. But the point of what I'm saying, guys, is we're trying to, when we tell you about all this, well, if you can have less workouts per week, you don't have to do crazy crash diets. You can do things sustainably, enjoy the foods you eat, still enjoy social time and stuff. Guys, we're trying to break the limiting belief of basically what you value. If you think that, like, well, I value my free time. I don't want to go to the gym every day. I enjoy certain foods. I don't want to be eating only chicken and broccoli. We're trying to break this limiting belief. All right. So, guys, that's what I got for today. Okay. Take a winning mindset that, okay, well, you know what? I got to act like and behave like the limits are like really high because I don't want to limit myself. And I just have to, the limit, and some of the limits are my knowledge. And I have to learn how to do things and I'll get to my goals with time. That's the kind of mindset you want to be. You don't want to be, it's not, you don't want to take manifestation kind of mindset or woo-woo motivational mindset is what I call it, where just you think it and it happens. It doesn't work that way. But definitely don't take this mindset. That's all I got, guys. Hope this was helpful. I got my Calendly below. If you're interested to work with me one-to-one, I do one-to-one coaching. You could use some help with gaining muscle, getting stronger, losing fat, and doing so in a way where I'm not treating you like an athlete. It's going to work in with your work and your busy schedule. That's something of interest for you. You want to explore working with me? My Calendly is below. What else? I follow me on Instagram. I link that as well. Might be a couple other cool videos linked below as well. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks so much.